Hello and welcome to Invisible Walls 225. I'm Marcus Beer. Shane's off in Tokyo eating sushi or something because there's fuck all else going on there. Welcome to the show. We've got an interesting show this week. We've got some really good stuff to talk about. Obviously, some great games have come out, in particular Borderlands 2. And to share their love for all things gaming is Ryan Stevens.
Thank you very much for introducing me.
You're very welcome. Had to be done. Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello, hello.
And Patrick Ninja Morales.
Hey guys, how's it going?
All right, we're going to crack on with the show. All right, so this week, Tokyo Game Show is happening. That's where we've sent Shane and Rich Brown and a couple of other people. I myself have actually been in Boston this week, so I was at an Assassin's Creed 3 launch party, so I've really not noticed what else has been going on because I've been playing Assassin's Creed 3. Preview event.
Are you allowed to say that, by the way?
I'm allowed to say it's a preview event.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to talk about the game till next week.
You were in Boston, so they were showing you the architecture of the old city.
Oh, we went to a tea party museum. There was actually a bunch of fun stuff. Boston's a great city. It's my first visit there. But let's talk Tokyo Game Show. So I really wasn't paying attention to what was going on. So anybody? Anything?
Sony talked about the PS3 Slim 2, the slimming.
And Nintendo is making another analog stick for the 3DS.
Oh, really? I missed that.
This is great non-hardware news. Yeah, I mean,
there were some Vita games.
Yeah, it's very portable heavy. Like it was the opening of the show. We're checking all the sites. Capcom, Konami came through with a little bit of stuff that's interesting to the West.
Well, they have the new Ninja Gaiden zombie game.
Oh, there's the Tecmo thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Yaiba.
But a lot of portable stuff. Like I saw like PSOs going to the Vita.
Yeah, that's been known, I think. It's PC and Vita.
Yeah, kind of random, but a lot of portable stuff. I guess the Vita is maybe doing a little bit better than we thought in Japan.
I don't think it is. It's just
okay. They're just making stuff.
Yeah, it's just the thing. It's like they're trying to get Japanese people interested in moving on from the PSP finally. So
not too much in the way of like announcements.
I mean, most of the companies that we tried to book with ended up withdrawing, right?
Not withdrawing. I mean, Microsoft's not there. It's a lot of people just weren't taking a lot of press events. They still have booths and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's
they're not like the U.S. representatives that are attending, really.
Yeah, it's a weird show, and I think it's kind of been the trend.
I think the guys from NetherRealm showed up with some new Injustice stuff. But
yeah, there's a new trailer. Yeah. We got some Solomon Grundy fighting Batman, I think, or Superman. I can't remember. There's some good stuff. That game's actually looking kind of fun, even though I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of.
Did you see the Puppeteer
DC
trailer though?
I didn't actually get to watch it because
I just watched it this morning. It's pretty freaking cool game. I think people need to put it on their radars a little higher.
Yeah, for as much shit talking we do for the Vita, I have to say I've been playing Little Big Planet Vita, and it's, despite it being a pain in the ass to hold, it's pretty fucking awesome. I mean, the combination of the rear touch and like, there was like a piano, like I'm hijacking the conversation, but just super quick, like, sometimes I forget that like, the Vita is actually a pretty cool piece of hardware. It's just, where are the games?
Yeah. It is a great piece of kit, and I think there are a couple of games that are coming out that, I mean, one or two I'll be able to talk about next week that are actually put the Vita in its own class right now. But I mean, how sad is this? That the once great Tokyo Game Show, this is the one that everybody wanted to go to. This was the one that would outshine E3. This would outshine the European equivalents while they were happening. And I mean, Nintendo obviously, they
haven't been there for 10
but I mean,
years,
they shot
ever.
their
I
load.
don't know that Nintendo's ever.
I mean, they did Space. When was the last time there was a Space Land?
Space World was like before the GameCube.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying. I know they have their own their own Nintendo event. They had their own conference last week.
But Microsoft withdrawing completely, and from Gamescom. And then Sony, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, Sony had massive layoffs again yesterday.
Some of the PR people as well went, so
yeah,
sorry, guys.
So I don't know. What I think is interesting is I don't think we are seeing that much in the way of announcements, even when we're getting these new trailers. Like, and by announcements, I'm sorry, I mean like new games. I mean, Tecmo had some stuff.
But it's like, I haven't seen any Level 5. Is Level 5 doing anything there at all?
Yeah, Level 5 has a booth, but I tried to, they're right down the street. I tried to contact them and no response.
Square Enix ended up being a little gun shy yet again.
They have a small booth. They're I guess they showed off some new Dragon Quest stuff, but like I don't know. I mean, there's not much we can do with that game right now here.
Right.
I know they
When it
revealed
comes out.
the Final Fantasy 13 follow-up a little while ago. Did
They
is
actually
that there?
were going to have an event for the Western
Right.
press, and that got
They
canceled.
canceled.
It's going to happen stateside. And then they sent us a giant press kit, and I mean, I know we're kind of video centric here, but 20 directories, only one trailer, and it was for Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
My point with Nintendo, they're launching this year. This is their their big entry into the next gen that's going to tie them
I
over.
can comment on this.
Well, what I'm going to say is, even though they haven't been to TGS for a very long time, they do need to buck up their fucking ideas.
They did this-
and they needed to be out there for everybody with a bunch of demonstrations. 'cause
That's what they're probably going to do, though. They did the same thing with the Wii. They weren't there at TGS, and then I actually went to Nagoya in 06 when they had a giant open show with like 40 games on display, open,
Yeah, I remember
free, and they went to like 3 cities in Japan. So I wouldn't be that surprised
And they're also-
if
I don't
Nintendo
know,
does a follow-up in Japan.
I hope they do. I mean, not just in Japan. I think that obviously they need to do it elsewhere. I don't want to be seen to be ragging on Nintendo over and over. But I mean, when I was in Boston
I'm
this week,
sure we'll see Best Buy kiosks, right?
Well, I don't know if you saw, but they had that newsletter that went out to all the Club Nintendo members that they're, like, come to this location at these dates and here's your coupon for 4 friends or whatever, so they're doing a lot of local small events and messaging it out to people that are already in their systems.
And I guess it has been selling out on
Yeah.
online
oh
retailers.
yeah, I mean the pre-orders are they're doing
That's to be
what
expected.
they need to do. But I mean, I was talking with a number of people in the press this week in Boston, and everybody was like, what the hell is going on? Because I mean, the games industry has moved on from when they launched the Wii. I mean, everything is more. We need the instant. We need the news much quicker. We need more of it so that we can start sharing it out and getting people excited and getting ourselves excited about it. And so many people were like, yeah, I still don't get it. And these are people who are bigger Nintendo fans than I am. So that's again, let's hope
But-
they buck it up. But
To steer back to TGS for just 1 second, 2 quick things I want to mention. The more I think about it, I think it's a little weird that maybe Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes was debuted at PAX instead of
And there's nothing at all on the
TGS.
floor.
But that's my second point, and you guys know, having gone, have you been to TGS?
No, I haven't.
Okay, having gone this is what's really cool about TGS is, especially on the public days, they will have stage demos,
Yeah, which
and
was
they will
fun, yeah.
blow the lids off of things.
Yeah.
Like we saw Resident Evil 6 split screen, I think, for the first time. That one.
I don't
not
think
six,
I was there that
sorry,
year.
Resident Evil 5.
Okay.
Like we saw. I'm trying to think of some other stuff, but they're
I mean,
making.
Yakuza tends to have these gigantic, 20-minute reels full of things.
Yeah.
We saw that Castlevania game that never actually got made that one year.
I mean, Snake was revealed in Super Smash Brothers. Like they actually hold announcement. Like I'll say that one thing. Like E3, like people shoot their load day one. Here, and Konami is a good example of this because they sometimes hold their press conferences later, not the last couple years. But TGS, they're willing to actually
pace it out.
keep it going. Though at the rate they're going right now, I don't know if it's going to be the case. But I say we're filming this on Thursday. I
Yeah.
would say
Yeah.
keep watching. There could be
Yeah, I
some
mean,
good stuff.
this is obviously Thursday afternoon. Not much has been released. Maybe again tonight and tomorrow night we'll start to see stuff coming through. I hope so. I mean, again, as a games industry, we need a strong TGS to round off the year, get us excited about some stuff that's coming next year. One can only hope that this time next year we'll be looking at perhaps PS4s and lots of other.
It's
cool,
strange
good
to me,
stuff.
though, about TGS is that this has been a trend of more and more publishers pulling out less and less announcements.
Smaller show.
Yeah.
And yet, the public presence is still there. It's not like
Staggering.
people aren't really. People are still going.
Well,
so
people
it's
give a
strange
shit.
that they're
Gamers give a shit. I mean, it
Yeah.
shows how hungry and how hungry everybody in Japan is for quality games and a variety of games. And anyway, Tokyo Game Show. Stay tuned. Shane will be back next week, and I'm sure he will be more than happy to share his thoughts with us all.
Do check out the Revengeance trailer though. It's sick.
Okay, next up, we're going to talk about a game that hasn't hit my radar, but Patrick, you've been playing War Z,
Yeah.
which is not DayZ.
Not to be
Which is
confused
not
with
Jay-Z.
Daisy.
Actually, to
Yeah.
be confused with Daisy.
Which is not Ninja Gaiden Z.
No, no.
But I'm guessing it's some sort of war with the alphabet and the letter Z, or is this about zombies?
It is about
Zed?
zombies.
Z. Zed's dead,
Yeah.
baby. Zed's
Zed.
dead.
But yeah, I mean, I think when you think about Warzy, DayZ immediately comes to mind, especially not just with the title, but even with the way the game plays. It's a zombie-style MMO online game where you basically survive just by gathering resources, working with other people, killing zombies. So it follows a very similar framework, but it definitely tries to do a few of its own kind of neat little things with it. It's built from the ground up, so it's a completely original game. It's not like DayZ, which is based on an Arma 2 mod. It is going to be server-based, so you do have the choice to create your own server and maybe just get a bunch of your clanmates together and populate it, or you can hop into other people's worlds and interact with them that way too. There's a lot of neat tools that it kind of lays out for you rather than just being a game. More than anything, it kind of is trying to bring that whole Minecraft feel where you create your own fun, you create your own objectives, and from what it sounds like, it's definitely kind of an interesting spin on the whole Survivor.
Can you
kind of
tell the
take.
flashlight story?
Oh yeah, okay, sure. So I did a really short demo with the game, probably just a half an hour to an hour the other day, and the developer and I were sitting side by side playing the game, and he was just pointing out facts like, oh hey, so you start off with a flashlight, which is good for illuminating environments, but also you could swing it like a melee weapon with the left mouse button, and like this, and then I just whacked him on accident, and he exploded into a pinata of bats and rifles and med kits, so it was pretty funny.
Because the game has this what I like about this game is it reminds me, you say Minecraft, but it reminds me of Ultima Online.
Sure, yeah.
Where there's this kind of permanence that we don't really see in MMOs, but Minecraft is a great example though.
Yeah.
But you kill someone, you get their stuff.
Yeah.
And this game's all about accumulating and picking your friends. I mean, I'm talking from what I've seen from, I'm going to say it right, DayZ. The funniest clip I've seen is some guy, people are playing with their mics on, and he's like, I'm friendly, but the whole time he's swinging an axe and chasing a guy like Benny Hill style.
Yeah.
And I like that idea because it's where, to use the most overused word in the world in video games, but like emergent stuff happens.
Sure.
Like, are you going
That's
to be
exactly what they're aiming
philanthropic
for.
and help people out, or are you going to snipe people? Are you going to lead people? Like, are you going to start a caravan and try to go places and try to scavenge items together?
Yeah,
It's-
it definitely
there's a
does.
lot-
It definitely doesn't
alliances.
stick to a script like you would see in an MMO. Like hey, kill these guys and then you get a reward. There are actually no NPCs in the game. For the most part, it's just the players interacting with other players. You can establish your own quests. So if there's something you need to do, like I need to harvest some materials to make this zombie vaccine, but I need to go into the city. You can just holler out and make a call. Hey, I need help, and then you could group up with other people and kind of give out your own rewards that way. One of the coolest examples that the developer said popped up in the alpha was that a whole clan of players that just like playing with each other, they basically inhabited a square in the city and made that their own little commune. They basically set up barricades so that the zombies couldn't get in, and at night they would lay out lanterns so people would know that they could come there for safe haven. So it's all that kind of cool stuff where, like Ryan said, it's all emergent gameplay. Some guy made their own Farmville. They just got a bunch of potted plants and then made a bunch
And
of.
then it became Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he basically set up his own sustainable garden in the city, and people would come and trade ammunition for the vegetables. So cool stuff like
this
that.
to me is really cool because obviously for the longest time, every time we've seen a game with zombies or The Walking Dead, where we've seen the was it the Telltale Games one, which is kind of cool, and then there was the new Activision one, which is just another shooter. I mean, I've been itching for a game like this.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really quite excited about this now. So unfortunately, you can't see that from where I'm sitting. But yeah, I'm going to have to get some, just as well your glasses on. You're going to have to share that info with me. So this sounds right up my alley. I mean, how does it look graphically? I mean, and what's the combat like? I mean, when you do have zombies, do you get, are there waves of them? Are there pockets? How does it work?
It looks good in the screenshots. In motion, it's obviously an alpha, so there's some optimization issues, but it looks pretty solid. A lot of placeholder sound effects and whatnot. But I think in terms of the scale and ambition that it's going for, it looks really good. How they're rolling it out is they're going to have worlds, which basically are maps based on real world locales. So the one they're rolling out first is Colorado. You're gonna get a mix of the city and then the the forest region. So it's kind of like a crazy take on Colorado through their eyes. In terms of the zombies, there are different types. You have the classic, George Romero shamblers that kind of just are slow moving. But once you provoke them in some way, like using a really loud rifle, then they all start swarming towards you. So things like sound matter. But yeah, it's like you said, it's really cool because it does evoke that zombie survival fantasy. I think when you look at other games like Call of Duty with the zombie mode, it's really just you're shooting things at a consistent clip, but you don't really feel like you have to survive. Here, it really kind of harnesses that feeling.
Every bullet matters.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's cool that it's going for that, and I think it's pulling it off so far.
And you know what you just reminded me? I heard they're trying to make smell part of the game too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which, I mean, I guess will just probably be a meter. I don't know. But
So you have to take showers.
You're to go in the water, yeah.
They're training gamers to
But
take
you know
showers.
how, like in The Walking Dead, like if you smell dead enough,
Yeah.
maybe the zombies
yeah.
won't bother you or something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
If you
So the
see-
other way
if you-
around.
If you use
Maybe.
soap and deodorant.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There'll be deodorant bombs you
Yeah.
throw at people.
One other funny story.
sprayed me with Chanel No. 5, you bastard!
One other funny story is that this guy got so rich playing the game, not real life money, but just farming and grinding everything, that he basically made his own gladiator arena, and he lured like 100 zombies into a pit, and he challenged people that he dropped them into the pit, and if he could kill all the zombies, he would like give them all like rare guns and stuff.
Yeah,
So
I've
cool
been-
stuff like that.
I've been reading about Warzy and Daisy for a while, and I think it sounds so awesome, but actually the idea of playing it almost makes me nervous. You know, it's
Right.
like when you're playing StarCraft and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm not having fun, Oh God, it's over,
There's
thank
only
God.
relief.
Yeah,
But
it's
Minecraft
awesome
can get that way
stuff.
too a bit.
Yeah.
Now, Daisy's obviously that's the armor
The mod, yes.
mod
Correct.
that's now being turned into a full
Yes, it will
game.
be its own
Standalone, yeah.
standalone
And
game, too.
is that being done by Bohemia?
The guys who are in Greek
The
prison.
guys who are actually in prison right now for
don't
Greece
know.
or whatever.
I honestly don't know.
I don't know
Czech
what
Republic, whatever it
if
was.
the mod guys are part of Bohemia. I mean, Arma is by Bohemia,
Yeah.
but I think it's just guys who modded the game.
I think they're separate.
But I think Bohemia is like, sweet mod, guys.
Yeah.
And obviously going off at a
Wanna go to
tangent,
Greece?
if you don't know what happened to the Bohemia guys, a couple of them were arrested for taking pictures of a military base.
Uh-oh.
But actually, they were more like pictures that sort of had a military base in the background. They were just
Well,
normal.
they were apparently trying to get some pictures of planes and stuff for the next game. From what I've read, anyway.
They
Yeah.
released another press release saying
Yeah.
that's entirely not true, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. All right, now it's the return of actually one of my favorite segments, sponsored by Origin PC. We love them. Origin. It's not a Mac, which is just the best title ever, because if it's not a Mac, then it's a playable game. So we have some games to talk about. FTL, that's basically faster than light or something. That's
Faster.
Oh, jokes.
oh hey. So you've been playing FTL this week. I think all of you have been playing.
I poked around with it before the show.
Yeah, I've put in some hours.
No, I haven't played FTL, but again, being on the Twitter sphere like what I is, especially on a plane, I have seen so many people talking about streaming FTL this week on their various game streams and just playing it and having a blast. And I have no frigging clue what this game's about because I've been totally either in Borderlands land or on the plane to Boston. So what the hell is FTL? Oh, I made it rhyme.
It's the new Solitaire.
The new Solitaire.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Best Stop
already
Dungeons,
getting
man.
lost, and I just played it for half an hour.
Yeah, so it's I mean, the first thing everyone likes to say is that it's a roguelike, and that's to say it has, you kind of create, instead of a class, you kind of make a ship, and then it has randomized layouts. But it's a lot more than that because it's also about managing a ship and having a little crew, and the graphics are a little crude or cute. I like them a lot, but
like
Retro?
Yeah.
I guess retro. But that's the low-hanging adjective fruit. And you have a little ship, and you have your little guys walk around, and have someone be the pilot, or have someone man the shields or the weapons, and you jump from star system to star system while you're being pursued by the evil rebels. And you fight ships, you fire lasers, and there's kind of a weapons system, like, ion lasers don't do damage, but they'll disable systems. Missiles will go through shields and do damage, but lasers do direct damage when shields are down, and you're you're trading blows, and sometimes the enemies will escape, and then little story elements pop up that can lead you to unlocking extra ships, or you can buy things like, I think what everyone thought was really cool is when you get the teleporter, and you actually board the other ship. Like, I boarded someone's ship, I disabled their oxygen, and they literally all asphyxiated to death.
And this is PvP, or this is you against
No,
AI?
no, it's only it's the AI. Yeah, a successful game, if getting to the boss, hour and a half, maybe, 2
On
hours.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's much longer on hard.
Well,
you probably
it's
just die quicker.
It's much more likely that you'll die.
Yeah,
on
so it's
normal.
and it's not about becoming an ultimate badass. It's about kind of keeping up with the flow, and that's where there's 8-star systems that you have to go through, each with a bunch of little places to visit.
And then there's like people with distress signals, and you decide to help them out, and sometimes that'll screw you over, and you lose a crew member.
Pirates will trick you and stuff like that.
One thing I thought was
events.
pretty cool was just the whole fire system of like you open up the airlocks and like suck the oxygen out to put out the fires.
Well, what's even cooler is if your ship gets boarded and you have the really powerful doors, and if they're next to an airlock, you open the doors, and again, I really like people asphyxiating. There's no blood.
It's
kind
a
of
very
Darth
clean
Vader.
process.
One thing I'm curious about, obviously, when you describe the graphics and the little characters, and you keep on doing this, there was a Commodore 64 game, Little Computer People, that was literally it was the precursor to The Sims, and I'm surprised nobody who made that didn't sue The Sims people. But now I'm envisioning that you're seeing this little ship with all these people running around. You board it, you open the airlock, and all these little cute characters are turning blue and their heads are exploding.
No, it's not that detailed.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They have cool little death animations, though.
So it'll appeal to my inner sadist.
Of course, yes. Because everyone dies, pretty much. I'd say you fail most of the time.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what's really cool about it, because there's so much uncertainty in terms of what you'll come across in terms of the good and the bad, that every game is a fresh experience.
Yeah.
I know one time, I think it only happened to me once, but usually when you answer a distress call, it'll lead to like, oh hey, if you escort me, I'll give you some scrap, and we'll be cool. The first time I ever answered a distress call, it was actually a gang of pirates that greeted me on the other end. So little cool random events like that are nice. One thing I also like is that the combat. I like how exploring space is kind of like a very kind of simplified grand strategy type game. But then when you get into combat, it's like a low impact RTS with all these.
I like the real time, but I'm glad they let you pause and stuff like that.
Definitely.
I'm a big roguelike fan. Like, I played pre-internet, back when I was on BBSs, I played a lot of, I downloaded like the DOS version of like NetHack, and I was like addicted to Ancient Domains of Mystery, which has just had a successful Kickstarter, by the way, so that's coming back. And with Spelunky this year, and I know we were playing Desktop Dungeons last year, I think that's probably going to be post-beta soon. It's good that this stuff's having a resurgence, and it's going beyond just a little @ symbol in a dungeon. Great game. I mean, the idea that your tool set, but you're not really, the randomization works, because sometimes I feel like random stuff isn't really the best thing. Really well done. I think 2 guys made this game with like a little help from 2 other people.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. I mean,
Is it on Steam?
it's on Steam, and you can buy it from the guys themselves, and you get a Steam code from them.
Okay.
Recommended. Also on PC this week, I know from PAX I was talking about Quadrilateral Cowboy. We actually had Brendan Chung from Blendo Games come in, and I'll just keep this short, but it's pretty awesome.
This
Looks
is the
cool.
cool art you were texting, yes?
Yeah.
And is, the guy who's literally not far away from here. and
Yeah,
you're
he's in
trying to
Culver
get them in.
City.
It's okay.
He is a cool dude. He came in. He was on the show once. I think it's when you had taken your sabbatical. But so it's a hacker game that takes place in the 80s, and you literally are running around with your luggable laptop, and you'll see like a grate or lasers or security cameras, and you'll open up your computer and you actually get like a little DOS prompt. And you have these little commands, and you'll string together things like open the gate for 3 seconds, wait 2 seconds, then turn off the lasers. And that's kind of like the basic 101 stuff. Then he showed us little robotic weevils. So like that, if you can't get into a room, you'll send a robot. And again, you'll put down your computer, you'll put down your little, an extra monitor, you'll tie their vision into a camera, or you can tie a security camera into there, so you can see like 2 different visions. And then, I don't know if anyone ever used a logo back in the day, but you'd be like, go forward 500 steps, turn 90 degrees, jump, and like he got to go onto a computer and hack. And then he was showing me like he had like unscrewing. He has a really good sense of it's kind of a simplified look, but kind of an artistic look. He has a good sense of like this kind of physicality. He had a thing that was like photocopying papers and like unscrewing nails from things and using like an acoustic coupler to hack into someone's data. If anyone saw what was the last Mission Impossible?
Ghost Protocol.
Do you remember? Did you see it?
The
Do
screen.
you remember the screen that projected the room behind it?
Yes.
He's coded that in. It's not in anything like any missions yet. I mean, the game's probably not going to come out for like a year, but and it was cool. Like in the interview, he said that one reason he wanted to make this game is he has no formal programming background. He used to work at who made Mercenaries and Saboteur.
Oh,
gosh.
yes.
Pandemic, yeah.
He worked
Yeah.
at Pandemic.
Not BioWare.
And he's a self-taught coder, and
Nice.
and he said I want to do this for 1 week, so people like, even though it's more like pseudo code, but he's like, I want to make a fun game, kind of a stealthy, fun cyberspace William Gibson Neuromancer game. That's also going to kind of introduce people to some light coding and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of noble.
You know what it does remind me of visually? Since they are going for the 80s thing, I immediately thought the Money for Nothing music video. It kind of has that look.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what's funny when you say that? I think of the Weird Al Beverly
Version.
Hillbillies version.
Yeah.
All right, so
That's a good one.
the interview's up on the site.
No, we got the walkthroughs. The interview's still being cut.
Okay. All right, so we're actually going to use this, while we're still in the It's Not a Mac segment, we're going to segue into the big game, which is obviously Borderlands 2. The reason we're going to segue into it because I've been playing it on PC, and it's fucking brilliant. Dan, you've been
the
playing...
crappy PC version.
The what?
Crappy.
Crappy?
It literally has crap that
Oh, right.
the console version
Yes,
doesn't
it
have.
does, of course, the toilets,
Overflowing
yes.
toilets.
Yeah,
yeah.
that diarrhea is silky smooth, man.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's all that's missing is the stench. But
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed was that liquid tech or whatever. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, Daniel
but-
knocked on my door. He's like, "You have to check this shit out."
But I mean, having seen obviously videos of the 360 and the PS3 version, and then watching you play on 360 and going home and firing up the PC version, I mean, the PC version is above and beyond. I mean, just gorgeous. I mean, looking at even in the earlier levels when you're looking at the ice flows and you've got the ocean and you've got these cracked bits of ice. They
There's
look
more cloth physics and things like that too.
Yeah, they just look it's so much better. It's so much more atmospheric. But anyway, I mean, regardless of whichever version you're playing it on, has anybody played the PS3 version?
Nope.
No, we don't have a copy here. I know some went out, but we didn't get any of the PS3.
But I mean, in general, Borderlands 2, bloody brilliant game.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we've all played Borderlands 1, and I think you and I played co-op on it when it first came out because we were doing some recording. And I got to say, while I liked Borderlands 1, it didn't sort of like become a game that I really felt I needed to finish because I think there was some.
Yeah, I got 10 hours in install.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was it. It was like you had to play at least 10 hours before you finally got out of the opening area and got to move on to some other stuff. But even then, it was you were pretty much like you traded skags for spider ants, and you were pretty much always fighting the same types of enemies over and over.
It was fun, but it just there was just something about it. But I mean, in Borderlands 2, I have not really had that issue yet, and I mean, admittedly, I'm still playing because I haven't had a chance to finish it. But there are everything that was kind of perhaps off on the first one has been tweaked, and this is almost like I compare it to Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2, where one was almost a great tech demo with a bit of gameplay in it, and then 2 was really sparked the evolution and was
the
such a great game.
foundation, and then we put the house
Yeah.
on top.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
this is the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's just that personality. It was very clear to see the personality that Borderlands 1 was going for, but then you got into the game and it's like, oh, here's a character. Now go look at a job board for 5 more hours, and and that's all been amplified. Like I was even in the first Borderlands, I was pretty disappointed with Claptrap because they had some great Claptrap trailers, and then you see him in the game, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever. He never really said anything actually funny, but now I feel like the humor has all been really spot on in Borderlands 2, and the main thing that I had to complain about that was just that there are so many dialogues and audio logs that there's a lot of times where we would be, like for instance, I was listening to something from an echo recorder or a side quest or whatever, and I walked a little bit further into a level, and then the main mission dialogue cut off
Right.
the side quest dialogue, and there's no way to go back and listen to anything, even though there's so much great stuff. And the same thing, when you're in a co-op firefight and you're just like going nuts, and there's Handsome Jack or somebody trying to give you plot. You're like, I missed that. Did anyone hear it?
Yeah, the thing I'll say is that you brought up Handsome Jack and Claptrap. I mean, the character writing is incredibly strong. So much so, I mean, the Handsome Jack stuff that comes in, even from the get-go, where he offers the bounty, and then other people start jumping in, like, I'm going to dance on your gizzards, or I'll keep you alive for a year just so I can torture you. That, is really funny. What I will say about
Sounds
Claptrap.
horrible.
But it's just the way it's delivered. It's very over the top and very sort of like, "Mwahaha," I'll twiddle my my mustache here. I will say about Claptrap, got on my nerves really quickly. I mean, I just wanted to put a bullet in Claptrap.
I think that's partly the intention.
And I mean, if that's the intention, job done, guys. I mean, he is, I actually began to enjoy the missions away from Claptrap a lot more, the side missions where you'd leave him somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there are some funny moments to where if I just said one word and you had been there, you would know what I'm talking about. Claptrap does have some good scenes coming up.
We're not going to spoil it, because, I mean, obviously we have a lot of people watching from Europe, and it's only literally released today, or Friday in Europe. So, obviously, the main thing about Borderlands is the guns, and they have a couple.
That is actually, initially one of the things that really surprised me was, the first game was obviously very focused on having lots of guns and variety of guns and just crazy elemental effects and everything. So I was actually really impressed that right off the bat, they have a lot more variation on guns, and like you really spend a lot of time experimenting again, trying to figure out what manufacturers you like, what you don't like, what works, and then I just got some crazy gun that I don't know exactly how to use it because it's shoots these kind of flares that have this huge arc, and there's no way to really figure out how to aim it. But you still, you experiment with things.
That is smart, and I've actually seen a few. I'm going to use the term very loosely, reviews, where they criticize the fact that there are so many guns from the get-go, and I would say that because there are so many guns and there are so many manufacturers, each with their own innate style, you need the first 4, 5, 6 levels, to really figure out, what your groove is and what works well with your character. Because obviously the characters, they're a lot stronger this time, and they're a lot.
But they did back away from making a character feel like you needed a certain gun. Before, in the first game, the idea was that Sirens were supposed to use SMGs, and there's a class mod that can kind of let you play that way. But now, all your skills are completely independent of guns. So you can pick whatever guns you like, no matter what character.
But I mean, there are obviously perks in the skill tree that are applicable to certain characters. But no, what I'm saying is that it's not just a case of, all right, what would my character use? What works with my character and my particular, additional perk or power and my particular gameplay style.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've basically avoided shotguns. I've avoided anything that is got a really slow reload, because I like to go in with the sniper scope, levitate someone, shoot them in the head, and then they die, and I get the health bump from it, and that's the way I like to play. And I think this, again, some reviews out there have been less than positive about the fact that, you've only got 4 characters and you can't really do much with them, and there's no 16-player co-op.
The augmentations they have on each of those towers really make things different.
Yeah.
I don't know what tree you're going down with the Siren, but I went down the motion tree, and I have 3 different effects on my phase lock, and it also I have bullets bouncing off of me after I get a kill and stuff like that. And I looked at the other trees, and they do entirely different things.
Yeah, I'm basically pointing out that obviously some of the people who have reviewed the game, in particular the twat at the Wall Street Journal, basically doesn't know his asshole from his elbow, and really should just go back to playing Pong for a living. Look him up. It's a ridiculously bad review. And I got to say, I mean, this is as of this moment, this is my favorite released game of the year.
Well, it's clearly the funniest game since Portal 2.
Yeah, I mean, we've
that's the box quote right there.
Yeah. We've known the writing was going to be strong. We've played it. So I mean, you've played the 360 and the PC.
Yeah, a little bit of PC. I'm still finishing up side quests on the 360, and then I'll move on to a new character on PC.
What stacks up better for you? Which version do you prefer?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously prefer the PC version. I mean, there's nothing to hold it back because I mean, even if you prefer a controller, you can just plug a controller in.
Yeah, the controller works, but I gotta say the mouse and keyboard stuff works so well. It becomes second nature, just activating stuff very, very quickly, especially if you've got a gaming mouse. But I cannot say enough about Borderlands 2, and I think that's, even though we've got a new Call of Duty coming, and we've got, I think, Far Cry 3 coming. Is that this year or next year? Far Cry 3?
I think it's next year.
I think it's what's January 15th.
Okay,
Yeah,
and well,
something
I know
else.
we've got Halo 4 coming,
Mhm.
but I
The Devil May
think
Cry.
this is the marker for FPS of the year. I think it's got humor, it's got great graphics, it's got great writing, it's got a shitload of guns. Bad guys, I mean, when they come at you, it's just even the first couple of bad guys, you know, where you've got somebody, you know, a guy riding a bullymong or whatever.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
you know, I'm still seeing new enemies.
and you're at 30 and you've completed it, and
Yeah.
you're going back and doing the side quests, yeah?
Yeah, I'm at 34 right now.
Okay.
Not just a bunch of skags running around this time.
No, there's all kinds of crazy stuff, and that's the other thing too. Like, the story, if you can't really just stick to the story because you need the experience from the side quests. But if you do stick to the story for a little while, like you would just kind of breeze through some areas, and then there are other whole regions that are just set aside for side questing.
Yeah.
So it's not like there is some backtracking, especially to the Lilith quests, but a lot of the side quests actually do take you to completely new areas.
Yeah. Oh, I think in short, I mean, you gave it a was it 9.2? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think to recap, Borderlands 2 is bloody brilliant. Borderlands 2 is fantastic if you like games that don't take themselves too seriously, have a shitload of guns, really look good, especially on PC. And yes, you know, if you just want, it's fun.
Thanks.
This is where you say you're happy to see me too?
Oh, right. It's good to see you.
Smooth.
Okay, that's 225 in the can. To recap, there is some great stuff out on PC. Borderlands is fantastic. Tokyo Game Show, please give us something over the next couple of days, or Shane will be back and be very, very upset next week. Next week's show, Shane will be back. He will be talking Tokyo Game Show, which hopefully is longer than a 9-second segment. I get to talk about Assassin's Creed 3, so bring your hankies.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. We are having the XCOM guys come in next week. They're not going to be able to make the show, but we are going to be fielding questions on Invisible Walls Twitter. So if you have any questions about the new XCOM game for Firaxis, please tweet at Invisible Walls.
Indeed, and obviously feel free to follow us all. I'm Annoyed Gamer, he's Other White Tofu, D Bloodworth,
2.
Deep Bloodworth 2.
D Bloodworth 2,
Who
sorry,
got
the
Deep
sequel.
Bloodworth 1?
I don't know. That's from way back. I just kept that as consistent.
And Patrick?
I'm unlisted. I've gone dark.
Oh, you've gone down. All right, okay. Well, Patrick's too good for Twitter, and obviously follow Game Trailers, Invisible Walls, and Dinfire, and everybody else. All right, that's our show for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back in 7 of your Earth days with more wacky gaming gorgeousness. Until then, this is Mark Spear saying, see ya.